Euch Moshe Mendel Katzev hat sich ausgelernt ein bisschen Teure und gehalten sich zwischen die Lomdim und Chassidim. Hagam der Katzev pflegt von ihm oft herausspringen. Moshe Mendel, the butcher, also used to learn a bit of Torah, and he would keep himself among the learned people and the Hasidim, even though the butcher in him would often emerge. Der Jid hat so gewollt machen seine ingerlich Verleumdung, als pflegt sie schlagen Makes Retzach nicht wollen lernen. This man, this Jew, so much wanted his children, his little boys, to study, that he would beat them for not wanting to learn. Pflegt sie mamisch treten mit die Fies. He would really come down very heavily on them. Die übrige proste Menschen, was haben solche Hassoges nicht gehabt, haben gesagt, die Hillen Bezibur, gekommen Herrn Amagid, zugelegt an euer zu mein Vaters Drosches, jeden Shabbos Tshuva und Shabbos Hagodel. The rest of the common people who didn't have this kind of achievement, they would say psalms together in community. They would come and listen to a preacher. They would come and give an ear to my father's droshes, his sermons. Each Shabbos Tshuva, that's the Shabbos between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and Shabbos Hagodel, the great Shabbos, the Shabbos before Pesach. Typen und Figuren in unser Städtele mit 40 Jahren zurück. Types and figures in our Städtel 40 years ago. Eine von die farbigsten Figuren in unser Städtel ist gewesen Reborch Wolf, was man hat ihm gerufen, der Kotzker, weil in seiner Jugend pflegt vorn zum alten Kotzker Reb Mendele. One of the most colorful figures in our Städtel, in our town, was Reb Baruch Wolf, who was called the Kotzker, because in his youth he used to travel to the old Kotzker Rebbe Mendele. Ot der Reb Baruch Wolf, a heucher, alter Jid, a knochiger, oderiker, oderdicker und breitbeiniger, hat sich gehalten sehr groß zu lieb dem, was ist junger Mann weiß, gefahren zum Kotzgerreben, und hat nicht aufgehört zu erzählen Nissim Venifloyes von seiner Kotzker Nessias. This Reb Baruch Wolf, a tall old Jew, a bony man, a veiny man, with a very big frame, he held himself very big. In other words, he used to brag that when he was a young man, he would traveled to the Kotzker Rebbe, and he didn't stop telling the wonders and the miracles that surrounded his journeys to Kotzk. Hat lieb gehabt, Sach Meises zu erzählen, und alle haben gehabt a Scheiches mit Kotzk. He loved to tell stories, and each one of the stories had some connection with Kotzk. A viele, das was sein Ponym ist gewinn, ausgekrimmt azoi, als ein halb Ponym ist gegangen aruf, und das zweite Arop hat euch gehabt zu tun mit Kotzk. Even the fact that one side of his face was twisted in such a way that half of his face went down and the other half went up, this also had to do with Kotzk. Das hab ich abgespart, junger Mann weiß, wenn ich bin gefahren in einer großen Frost in Kotzk und ich hab gehabt a Verkühlung, hat Reb Baruch Wolf gesagt. This I gained as a young man when I traveled in a very cold frost to Kotzk, and I caught a cold. Reb Baruch said, der Frost ist demult gewesen so groß, als viele das Fässerle Akevit Schnaps, was ich hab geführt mit sich auf den Weg, ist gefroren geworden. Also als jedes Mal, was ich hab gewollt nehmen a Trunk Bromfen, hab ich gemusst abhacken a Stickel Eis und Nogen. The frost was at that time so severe that the little barrel of schnapps, of akavit, of schnapps, which I carried with me for the way, froze, so that each time that I wanted to take a drink of whiskey, I had to chop off a little piece of ice and suck it. Die chassidische junge Leitlich in Beschmedres, verwemmen Reb Baruch Wolf pflegt erzählen seine Nissim, pflegen ihm abstellen. The Hasidic young boys in the study house, to whom Reb Baruch would tell his stories, his miracles, they would stop him. Reb Baruch Wolf, wie soll das gemalt sein? Reb Baruch Wolf, how is such a thing possible? Es ist doch jadua, als Spirt wird nicht verfroren, a viele nicht in größten Frost. It's known, is it not known, that spirit doesn't freeze, even in the greatest freeze. Ochsenkip, was gleicht ihr eure heintige Frist zu die brennende Frist von Verzeitens? hat Reb Baruch Wolf sich gebeizert. You knuckleheads, how can you compare the present day freezers with the burning cold of the winters once upon a time? Reb Baruch Wolf shouted. Heintige frisst seinen kein schmeckt Tabak nicht wert. The freezing weather of today is not worth a pinch of snuff.
Ja, okay. Alt, was hat nicht gestammt von Amolike Jahren, ist war Baruch Wolfen, kein schmeckt Tabak nicht wert gewesen. Anything that did not smell of the past, of past years, had no worth at all for Reb Baruch. Der heintige Bronfen ist kein Bronfen nicht gewesen. Today's alcohol was not alcohol. The tzaddikim came tzaddikim nicht. The righteous people of today, no, they're not righteous people. They're not the righteous people of the past. Die gebrotene Gänselach kein Gänse nicht. The roasted geese are not geese. The carp came fish nicht. The carps are not really fish. The Hasidic Nigunim haben kein Tam nicht gehabt. The Hasidic melodies had no taste. Hasidic melodies of today have no taste. They cannot be compared to those of the past. The Giborim, the heroes are not heroes at all.
But here, Gibor can also mean a rich person. But yeah, Gibor, hero most likely.
Gibor is like a hero, or also could be also a physically strong person, like a fighter, like Shimshon Gibor, Samson of the Book of Judges. Otter Steiger nimmt ihn Reb Wolfen, wenn ist gewesen ein junger Mann und einmal gefahren kein Kopf, seinen 12 Gazloni befallen in Wald und haben ihm gewollt behäuben und erhagen. Was hat getan? Hat gehabt ein Gazlen bei die Fies und mit dem genommen also im Memischen alle übrige 11 Gazlonim über die Käf, als sie seien sich zerlaufen wie die Mais. Und Baruch Wolf, ist sich benucha gefahren weiter in Kotsk. So these are his stories. Here, for instance, take Baruch Wolf when he was a young man, and when he was traveling to Kotsk, he was attacked by 12 robbers in the forest, and they wanted to rob him and to kill him. So what did he do? He caught one robber. He caught him by his feet, and he started to kill all the other 11 robbers above the head. I guess he was hitting them on their heads so that they all ran away like mice. And he, Baruch Wolf, peacefully went further ahead into Kotsk. Die junge Leid in Bet Midrash haben probiert zweifeln in Reb Baruch Wolf's Meise. So the young people in the study house attempted to doubt the story of Reb Wolf. Baruch Wolf, אפשר ולראות לו זון אפס. von die 12 Gazlonim, they kind of are bargaining with him. Take off. Perhaps you ought to take off a little bit of the number 12 when you're talking about 12 robbers. Maybe there were less robbers than 12. לא מרזוגן אז es seinen bloß gewinnt 6 Gazlonim. Let's say that there were also 6 robbers. Chamoirim behemoths, oxen calf, donkeys, cows, heads of ox. All that is what he wants to say, you are all idiots, you're stupid. As ihr sagt, 12 Gazlonim seinen das gewinnt 12 Gazlonim. When I tell you that there were 12 robbers, there were 12 robbers. Und Reb Baruch was sich gebezert. Reb Baruch was angry. Weiß, denn was Gebäude Menschen seinen gewinn in meine Zeiten. Do you know what kind of strong people there were in my time? Ich hab stark lieb gehabt, euch zu hören dem Jids fantastische Meises. Meises von Stades Welt, was pflegen im Befallen, auf seine Messias in Kotsk, und pflegt sie beikommen mit die bloße Hand. Okay. I like a lot to listen to the fantastic stories of this Jew, stories about groups of wolves that used to attack him on his travels to Kotsk. And he defeated them just with his hands. Meistens, wie vielleicht in Kretschmes vermessen sich mit Kotzer Chassidim im Trinken, Akevit, und vielleicht mit ein Sub austrinken, a Top-Ronfen von 100 Grad stark. Stories about how he in the inn where people drink, how he tried, he competed with Kotsker Hasidim in drinking alcohol, and with one sip, drink a pot of alcohol of 100 degrees, the strength of which was 100 degrees of alcohol. Soll gewesen, noch in seine junge Jahren, als einmal, wenn hat gemacht, das Sude von Kotzker Chassidim, hat zu die Zibeles nicht genutzt, kein Schmalz, nur Teiernbäumel, was ein kleines Fläschchen davon hat gekostet, ein Rändel, und der Eulem auf der Sude ist gewesen so groß, als hat ausgenutzt, לכל הפוכס המאה, als solche Fläschchen Bäumel.
Well, let me just interrupt for a sec. 100 grad, it's not 100 proof. Actually, it's 100%. So he's saying this was 100%
thank
alcohol.
You're right. You are right. Yes, thank you. Yes. Yeah, grad is also used for the way I said it, but not here. Yeah,
it's the Russian Gradov, or Gradis.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. He was also such a rich man in his youth that one day when he made a feast for the Hasidim of Kotsk, he did not use onion. He did not use fat, like animal fat, to cook that onion. That is usually from a duck or something like that. So he didn't use that kind of fat, but he used an expensive oil. A bottle of which used to cost a lot, and the people that feast, there were so many people so that he had to use at least 100 bottles and 100 such bottles of that particular expensive oil.
But I guess the onions were cheap.
I don't hear you.
I guess that the onions must have been cheap. He doesn't mention their cost.
The onion was,
Onions are always cheap.
Okay. Wie viel die junge Leitler haben nicht gearbeitet meistens aufzudingen, hat etwas von Preis von die Bäumelfläschlach und man nicht gekannt Polen bei am Alten. Also hat euch nicht gelost zweifeln in dem Kojach von sein Kolnegina, was hat junger Mann weiß gehabt.
I have a question. Sorry to interrupt. Is Boimel any kind of oil or is it olive oil?
It's typically olive oil. It can be any oil, but it's boim oil. It's tree oil, which is typically olive oil.
Okay.
However, as much as the young people tried to bargain with him regarding the price of those oil bottles. They wanted to make the story a little different. They were bargaining with him regarding the price of the oil. It was impossible to do it with this old man. And so he also did not allow to to doubt the power of his voice, of his strong voice,
his singing voice.
the singing voice, yeah. Als eenmaal, wenn had gedabend Musaf voor een Amud, om Yom Kippur in Neistettel, had beim Vatigar Vasatan, als da geschregiton, als beim Poritz, was hat gewohnt a Mile weit von Städten, hat geplatzt das Heike in Oyer. Yeah, yeah. He had such a strong voice that one day when he was praying Musaf in front of the congregation on Yom Kippur in a place that's called the Neistettel. When he got to the words Vatika Basatan is and you should scold Satan. He yelled so that the nobleman that was living there, that was living a mile away from the shtetl, that voice, that singing voice, had his ears so that his the skin in the ear, what is it called?
Eardrum.
Eardrum, yeah, thanks. It exploded. Die junge Leute lachen gewollt opreißen einen halben Mile vom Schettach. Aber der Baruch-Wolf hat kein Spann nicht abgelost. The young people wanted to cut off half of that area.
A half mile of the distance.
For a half mile of the distance. Yeah, of course, distance.
Was
But
ist,
Shetach is Hebrew. Yeah, okay.
was ist Stoch?
Shetach.
Yeah, but Baruch Wolf wouldn't allow any of that.
Not a single footstep worth, or a single
Yeah,
shpat.
and not a single. Yeah, but not. That's right. Thank you. Not a single footstep. Ois gerissen sollt ihr werden Schneckes. Okay, Rafael, you continue.
All
There's
right.
nobody there, nobody else?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, maybe. Okay.
So I'll pick up at this point then. Eis
Okay.
gerissen sollt ihr werden Schneckes. You should be ripped to pieces. You, well, a schneck is a snail. you snails. Hat sich gekocht. He was cooking with rage. Als ich sag euch a mile, is es gewen a mile? If I tell you that it was a mile, it was a mile. Es lives on a mises, hat Alter vernachlässigt sein Krumm. Und is gewen a bitterer Rohrmann. Because of all these tales, this old fellow, he didn't pay enough attention to his business, to his store, and he became quite poor.
He neglected.
He
How
neglected.
about that?
That's it. That's to
Yeah.
neglect. Exactly.
Okay.
I was struggling for the word. I'm just checking my own dictionary to make sure I've got that very nice translation. Yeah, to vernachlässig, to treat cavalierly or to neglect. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Great. See, while rereading, I'm adding to the dictionary all the time. Good. Sein Alte vielleicht oft kommen und im Rufen von Beis Medrash heraus. His old woman, his wife, used to come all the time and call him away from the Beis Medrash. Reborach, Ra Borach, not Ra, it's Ra, it's the Hebrew. You bad Borach. Like sie berufen, she used to call him. Wie viel is der Schier zu pleuderen? How long do you have to keep blabbing? Come heim stehen in Geweld. Come home and stand in the store. Ich darf etwas abkochen. I've got to do some cooking. I guess while he's gone, she has to be at the store. Aber Borach Wolf hat sie nicht gehört. He didn't listen to her. Hat gehalten in der Zählen ein wunderliche Meise nach der zweiter. He kept telling one wonderful story after another. Wie hat nicht gehalten von Parnasse, hat euch nicht gehalten von Davnen und Lernen. Just as he didn't consider very valuable to the income, he also didn't hold by praying or study. A Trunkbronfen und a Tänzel ist bei Kotzker Chassidim mehr wert wie a voller Sack mit Davnen und Lernen, like Baruch Wolf sagen. He used to say, a drink of strong liquor and a little bit of a dance, for the Kotzker Chassidim, it's worth more than a full sack of prayers or study. Vielleicht euch erzählen, als der Kotzker allein vielleicht lachen von seiner frühen Chassidim. He also used to recount that the Kotzker Rebbe himself used to make sport of, laugh about his religious, his observant Chassidim, was haben zu viel gedavet, who were praying too much. Und einmal hat gesagt zur Chassid, and once he told the Chassid, was hat getragen Talis and Tefillin, who was wearing the Talis and the Tefillin, soll austun das lederne Gespann, that he should take off this leather bridle. Mein Tat ist geworden an aufgezitterter Herrn de Gazelle gereid. My father he was all a tremble when he heard such speech. Actually, the Kotzker Rebbe was known for, he said, the middle way, he was called extreme, and he said, the middle way, that's for horses. Aber Borach Wolf hat sich geschworen bei Borden Peis, als hat allein die Wörter gehört in Kotzk. But Borach Wolf, he swore by his beard and his payas that he himself heard these particular words in Kotzk. Einmal hat Borach Wolf gemacht Chäusek von Wilner Goen und gesagt, sitzen in Ganeden sitzt der Wilner Goen. Aber der Pfarr, was hat geräudet gute Jiden, sitzt dort abgesundert von alle übrigen Tzadikim. Und dazu ist sein Bord verrotzt. Borach Wolf once made sport of the Vilner Gaon, who was the chief anti-Chassid of the time. And Borach Wolf said that as far as sitting in paradise, yeah, the Vilner Gaon does sit there. The Vilner Gaon does. But because he attacked the Gute Yidden, the wonder-working Chassidim, he sits there separated from all the other righteous people.
Geroidev is chased. He was chasing after them.
He chased them, but Roidefen here is, in Hebrew it's to chase, but here it's to...
You know, tzedek tirdof also.
Yeah, it's to oppress or pursue here also.
Okay.
To persecute. In Yiddish, it comes to mean persecute.
Okay.
And in addition, his board becomes rusted or unclean. Mein Vater hat gesagt, als man darf Krieg reißen, zu lieber solche Rede, wegen wilder Goen. My father used to say that one ought to now I'll have to explain this. Rip Kriya, because of such speech about the Vilna Gaon. To rip Kriya, when you hear that a relative has died, then you rip a piece of clothing, and that's called Kriya Reisen. And so he says that to say such things, it's enough to make you so sorrowful that you should rip your clothes. Reb Baruch Wolf hat sich ausgelacht. But Reb Baruch Wolf, he just laughed it off. Goen, Gonner, hat gesagt. So he's making a Goen and Gonner. Gonner is a rooster. No, it's not a rooster. It's a male fowl of one form or another.
I found gander.
A male goose, a gander. That's it. It's a gander, a male goose. Goen and Goner. So Goen means sage and goose and gander. Like goosey gander, hat gesagt. He said, ein Trunk Bronfen in Kotsk hat gehabt mehr Wert wie dem Goens ganze Leindes in Vilna. One drink of Bronfen there in Kotsk, that was worth more than the entire knowledge of the Goen in Vilna. Grad Yom Kippur, bei Nacht, zu Kol Nidre, hat sich Baruch Wolfen verglust wegzusetzen sich lernen Gemara. Now, actually, one Yom Kippur, in the evening, at the time of Kol Nidre, which starts Yom Kippur, Reb Baruch, it suddenly, he acquired the desire to sit himself down and to study some Gemara. Jeden seine Gewen äußer sich. And the Jews were beside themselves. Reb Baruch Wolf, no, oh, Kol Nidre. Reb Baruch Wolf, what's going on here? It's Kol Nidre time. Reb Baruch Wolf hat sich nicht gelost sterben. But Reb Baruch Wolf didn't let himself be interrupted or interfered with. Kol Nidre, hat noch gebrummt. He mumbled in response. Und gelernt davon Kol, allem in Salachas. And he started studying out loud, just to spite everyone. That's the beginning of Bava Kama. Bava Kama is the tractate at the very beginning of the laws of torts. And it's
Nezikin, huh?
What's that? It's from Nezikin, yeah, Nezikin, beginning of Nezikin. It's the first first Masech of Nezikin. An ox that has gored a cow. Men hat dem gar nicht gekannt tun, weil erstens is gewesen jeder Sachen. They couldn't do anything about it because firstly, he was an old man. Und zweitens is gefahren einmal zu Reb Mendele Kotzker allein. And second of all, he actually had once traveled to Reb Mendele himself. Der Yid hat mamish gelebt von seinen Meises. This fellow actually lived because of his stories. Von seiner Akshonissen, because of his stubbornnesses. Satan als Moshe Kapoyach, to do everything upside down. Und hauptsächlich von seinen Liegen in Bod auf der Hechster Bank, and especially to lie down at the bathhouse on the highest shelf, wo keiner hat nicht gekannt liegen über dem größer Hitz, where no one else was able to lie because of the enormous heat. This is a steam bath. It's like a sauna. Wie viel Emmer der Bäder hat nicht gegossen, heiß Wasser in Bad, hat Reb Baruch Wolf geschrien, me soll ihm der langen Meer Paare. No matter how many buckets of hot water the bath attendant would pour in the bathhouse, Reb Baruch Wolf would shout out that they ought to give him more steam. Sein knochiger alter Guf is geworden reut wie abgekocht. His old bony body became red as if it were cooked. Red as a lobster, we would say. Is gar kein Schier nicht gewesen. Es ist gar kein Schier nicht gewesen zu der Hitz, was der Alter hat gekannt vertragen. There was no end, no limit to the amount of heat that this old fellow was able to bear. Liegendig einer allein in der Heuch, hat gepravet seine Stick. Lying all alone up in that high place, he carried on with his shtick. That's the good English word for it, his shtick.
His trick.
With his shtick, yeah, with his manner of behavior. Jeden, das Lannem, ich wär gefreuen, hat gewaltet. Jews, robbers, I'm freezing up here. He would scream. Junge Leutlich haben ihn bewundert, and the young fellows were really amazed at this. Rebbe Wolf, wer soll kennt liegen in das Agenem? Rebbe Wolf, how can you lie in such a hellish fire? Behemoth. Wenn ich bin gewesen ein junger Mann, habe ich sich einmal geboten in kochedicken Kessel in Mikveh. Oh, cows. When I was a young man, I once bathed in a boiling pot in the mikveh. Hat Rebbe Wolf abgeschrien. He cried back. Von der höchster Bank, down from the highest bench, the highest level. Das ist schon gewesen zu viel. Und alle nackte Juden haben sich voneinander gelacht. Now this was too much. And all of these Jews, who were of course unclothed at this point, they're in the bath, they started laughing in all directions. Voneinander gelacht. They exploded in laughter. Rebbe Wolf, losed up a bissel. Hat man sich gebeten bei ihm. Rebbe Wolf, leave off a little bit, they asked. They begged him. Seid sich moide, as der Kessel hat nicht gekocht. So you have to admit that this pot of water wasn't actually boiling. Ochsenkep. Hat nicht gekocht, nur gezwalvet. It wasn't just boiling, it was swallowing, whatever that is.
It didn't only cook, it boiled.
Okay, it wasn't just cooking, but boiling. I don't see this word swallowing. I'll have to look that one up
I
later.
found that it's boiled.
It's to boil?
Not only did it cook the part, but
seethe,
it also boiled.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
swallowing.
Okay.
It's in the Buchner dictionary. Good, I'll have to add it to mine.
Okay.
He had geteinet. He explained.
He argued, huh?
He argued, yeah. Swallowing. He explains it. Very good. He defines it here. It's an unusual word. Swallowing meint, wenn Wasser sekocht sich bis zu der höchster Madrege. Swallowing means when water is boiling to the highest degree, or cooking to the highest degree. Azayid is Gwen Rebbe Wolf. That's the sort of person Rebbe Wolf was. Ich habe ihm lieb gehabt und angequollen von seiner Chikave Meises, was hat sehr farbig erzählt. I really liked him, and I quelled of his curious stories, which he so colorfully recounted. Wenn sein Alter ist gestorben, hat Rebbe Wolf an 80er scheine wade, Chassene gehabt noch einmal mit der Jidene, was es gewähne Hälfte von seinen Jahren. When his old woman died, Rebbe Wolf, who was certainly already 80, in his 80s, he married again to a woman who was a half of his age. Sie hat ihm euch mitgebracht a Stieftochter. She also brought along into the marriage what became his stepdaughter. Was man hat ihr gleich in Stettel gegeben hat Zunamen der Dodotek, whom they immediately gave a nickname in the little town. They called her the Dodatek, was meant in Polish Atsulog, and that means in Polish an addition, an extra. Dem alten Strassene is nicht gewähnt kein Mazeldicke. This old man's wedding, though, wasn't lucky. Is nebech gicharop, aufgehört zu erzählen seine Meises und weckt zu sein Erstweib auf jener Welt. He, poor soul, quickly went downhill, and he stopped telling his stories, and he went away to be with his first wife in the other world. Right. Rachel, you want to pick up at this point?
I can do, yeah. Achikavati ist euch gewinn Chane Rochel, was hat lieb gehabt, Kalle zu machen, Weiber, die Maracha bei ihren Mannen und bringen zu Machleuke zwischen Mann und Weib. A curious character was also Hannah Rochel, who liked to destroy for women their fights against their husbands, and to bring about fighting between men and wife, between husband and wife, to bring about a clash between man and wife. עוד בירת חנה רוחל, הווייב לברן, הרדר כאלושן ההרוניצה, הוויצלרן is given a größer Barriere in Kochen und in Backen. So this Hannah Rochel, who was a very energetic woman, talkative, a gossip that would badmouth people, Loshen Haranitz, that would say bad things about people, a Witzler, a joker. She was very skilled in cooking and in baking. Ihre Kichalach und Strodlen, ihr Gebrotens, ihre gefüllte Fisch und Kugeln sind gewesen Hashem Dover in Städtel. So her cookies and her strudels and her roasted meals and her gefüllte fish and her kugels, they had a name in the Städtel. I mean, they had a good reputation. Aber die Jiden hat sich nicht begnügt damit, was sie hat gemacht, die alle Madonnen für sich und ihr Ausgesehen. But this Jewish woman wasn't satisfied enough with making all these goodies for herself and for her household. Sie hat lieb gehabt, zu schicken Matones von ihrer guten Macholin zu Schchenim. She liked to send gifts of her delicious dishes to neighbors. Sie hat gehabt 2 Töchterlach. Welche sie pflegt oft herumschicken mit Tellerlach essen zu ihrer Schochentes, der Iker und Shabbos. She had 2 little daughters, whom she used to send with dishes of food to her neighbors, particularly before Shabbos. Eine von ihren Töchterlach pflegt euch sein an ofter Gast bei uns in Stub in die Shabbosim. One of her daughters used to also be a frequent visitor in our house for Shabbos. Rebetzin, die Mame, sie hat geschickt Kugel. Pflegt das Mädel sagen ich. Die Mame, sie hat geschickt Fisch. Rebetzin, she says, my mother Saint Kugel. Mamishi is like a Polish way to talk about mama. The girl used to say fast. Hey, my mother sent fish. Bei uns im Stub ist zu lieb die Geschmacke, mein Cholim nicht gekommen, kein Ausred. In our house, because of those delicious dishes, did not bring about any reprimand. Mein Vater hat sehr wade Lieder gehabt wie die Macholin von meiner Mutter, welche ist kein Berge nicht gewesen in Kochen, aber er hat wegen dem nicht gerät. My father, for sure, liked better her dishes than the dishes that my mother used to prepare. Because my mother was not very skillful in cooking, but he did not talk about it. Anders ist es gewesen in andere Stuben, wo die Weiber seinen Kinderberries nicht gewesen. It was different, however, in other homes where the wives were not skillful in cooking. Hannah Rochel pflegt schicken ihre Matamin durch Heus zu Ort als solche Weiber. So Hannah Rochel used to send her delicious food, particularly, like intentionally. It was intentionally to such wives, such women that weren't such good cooks. Und es pflegt oft treffen, als ein Mann von einer nicht very dicker, jeden pflegt ohne eine Teile im Stub, noch und versuchen Hannah Rochels Kugel. Allemal bei anderen Weiber ist a Kugel und bei sein Schlimaznitze und a Kugel kein jüdischen Tam nicht. So that's unlike my father. Other men reacted differently to this good food. It happened often that a man, a husband of such a not such a skillful woman, would start to complain in the house after, or complain or argue after he was tasting Hannah Rochel's kugel. Why is it that a kugel that other women prepare is a real kugel, and the kugel of his woman, a really loser wife, Shlimazu, the kugel that his loser wife prepared, it doesn't have a Yiddish taste. It doesn't taste right. Only in Yiddish and Tam, it doesn't taste right. In einer Sprache haben Hannah Rochels Kugeln ungearbeitet, als Machloike, als es hat schier nicht gehalten bei der Get. In one family, Hannah Rochels Kugels brought about such a clash that it almost came to a divorce. Mein Tate hat darüber geschickt, rufen Hanna Rochlen und ihr geäußert, zu
Geassert.
schicken Matone zu ihrer Schwänin.
It's
So my
geassert.
father, der
Geassert.
geäußert, thank you. My father therefore sent called Hannah Rochel and he forbade her to send gifts to her neighbors. Ich allein bin nicht übrig zufrieden gewesen von all dem Issue. I myself was not very happy for the because of that prohibition. Ich hab gedenkt noch Hannah Rochels Geschmacke Fischenkugeln. I was missing. I was yearning for the delicious fish and kugels of Hannah Rochel.